யாரு ஃபோக்கஸ் மாத்தி வச்சது?
When Earth was built in the unconscious void and nothing was save a material scene, identified with sea and sky and stone, her young gods yearned for the release of soul, asleep in objects, vague, inanimate.
अमृतश्च सर्वाौषधयो रसाश्च येनैष भूतैः तिष्ठते यन्तरात्मा एतस्मात् जायते प्राणो मनः सर्वेन्द्रियाणि च खं वायुर्ज्योतिरापः पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी.
Good morning. We're following Aswapati's journey through the inner worlds. And in this Canto 3, we're given a view of the life worlds, both their heights and their depths. We've come through page 126. And Helmut, you have the line number. Imposing and deceitfulness. Age never came there is stuff. Yeah. So everybody have the line. 376 on page 126. For the most part, we've been reading about the heavens of the life world. We had some taste of their darker depth in the beginning of the canto. But for example, just in the last line that we read, their work was play, and play the only work. The tasks of heaven a game of godlike might, a celestial bacchanal forever pure, unstayed by faintness, as in mortal frames. Life was an eternity of rapture's moods. Age never came, care never lined the face. So we begin from there. Would you like?
Imposing on the safety of the star, a race and daughter of immortal strength. The nude god children in the play fields ran, smiting the winds with splendor and with speed. Of storm and sun they made companions, sporter with the white man of tossing seas, slew distance, trampled to death under their wheels, and bustled in the arenas of their force. Imperious in their radiance like the sun, They kindled heaven with the glory of their limbs, flung like a divine largesse to the world, a spell to force the heart to start delight. They carried the bride on mastery of their charm, as if life bannered on the roads of space.
Thank you. So we have that sense from the previous line of that these are like immortal beings, just kind of running and playing and enjoying life to the fullest, absolutely safe in their purity and their strength, safe. So the nude god children in their playfields ran, smiting the winds with splendor and with speed. Normally, if we run fast, the wind kind of buffets against us. But here, they're smiting the winds as they run. It's almost as if they're running faster than the wind. Yeah, these are the beings of that world. So they're kind of immortal, life, vital beings, kind of very close to heaven. In kind of this pure innocent, just running nude, enjoying the life. There's no shame, there's no darkness there. So very fast moving through the their play fields. Imperious is very powerful. Like imperial, the word is, kind of mastery, kingly. So this is with great force, authority.
How to interpret these worlds? You equate them with the inner worlds with the inner being.
Yeah, we all have access to these worlds, just as Atmapati does. And we may even visit some of these worlds in our dreams sometimes. If we would recall our dreams, we probably have many sojourns into the vital worlds. Now, these are quite high up, I think, so we might not have as easy access to these that he's describing. We have more easy access to worlds a little bit closer to physical realm. But we can.
And we detect the integration in this journey. All integrate all the worlds. You feel that Savitri is like experiencing them for the first time. He's experiencing them. He's experiencing them. How do you reconcile all these things in terms of what is Auroville actually trying to say here with the story?
Well, in the story, Asupati is looking for the key to changing the earth life, to making it divine. And so he's journeying, looking for that power, that, kind of ability, that city or whatever it is to change earth life. And he's going to travel through all the worlds looking for that, and he's kind of started at the worlds closest to matter, to the physical world, and is moving his way upwards. At the same time, we have to realize that Asupati is already on a very high station of consciousness, and he's looking into these worlds from that high station of consciousness, perhaps in the overmind or something. And so that's, in a sense, the storyline of his searching through these worlds.
And how do you correspond with Savitri, her own growing up and her own journey? She learns these worlds herself, or how do you connect the two stories, his story and her story?
Well, his story is that he searches through these worlds until he finds the Supreme Divine Mother and asks her to incarnate. She incarnates as Savitri. She grows up. She also enters into these worlds. She also does a kind of sadhana and opens up into the inner worlds. But her journey through those is described quite succinctly, quite briefly. But she also has to go into those worlds. And
she also has to make the journey with death to many of these worlds too.
Yeah, in a way, her journey is, first she goes in toward her soul, but in that journey toward her soul, she passes through these worlds. And then after she has that realization, she confronts death and goes into the lower worlds.
These worlds are stagnant,
These worlds, no, they don't evolve. They're what Shirakindo calls prideful worlds. So each is kind of fixed in its own particular level. This is kind of heaven that we're, reading through now, and it kind of remains this way. This is These beings are just there, immortal beings enjoying life, and that is always kind of their station, that's their existence. Presumably, perhaps, if a being wanted to change, they could take birth in the physical world. I suppose. So, Sudanya?
I feel that living from one slave with his cast of javelins of thought, but needed not these instruments toils to know. Knowledge nations often like the rest, investiture with the fresh heart brightly, and early God instincts child inheritors, tenants of the perpetuity of time, still feeling with the past creation's bliss. They steeped existence in their youth of soul, an exquisite and vehement sterile, the strong compulsions of their will to joy, poured smiling streams of happiness through the worlds. There reigned a breath of high immune content, a fortunate gate of days in tranquil air, a flood of universal love and peace. The sovereignty of travelers' sweetness lived like a song of pleasures on the leaves of time. Yes.
So we see that mind also is present there, but it's, I think, subservient to the life, subservient to the enjoyment of life. Knowledge was nature's pastime like the rest. It's as if everything is just a big game, a playful existence.
I think this line might take things out of javelins of thought.
Yeah. Played with speech, so it could articulate the thought, cast javelins. A javelin is like this long spear that they used to use in the Greek times as weapons, but in the Olympics they use as a sporting event. See how far people can throw a javelin. So these are like, as if like powerful thrusts of thought shot through the sky like javelins. So they're powerful even thought, not just superficial ones. But they didn't really use the thought really to discover or to find out things. It was more or less also just kind of a pastime.
Does it mean that the natural possibility of mind came later?
Yeah, but this world wasn't created in the evolution, it was created in the involution. So coming down, right? So it's come down from above in the involution, from spirit towards matter. Although Aswapati is kind of journeying through from the bottom going upwards, but the worlds were created from above. So in this world, there never was any, physical matter, or there isn't the influence of the inconscient like we have here in our world, which was created in the evolution. So that is why it's just so free and easygoing. It doesn't have that heavy weight of the physical. But mind also is there. It's kind of, this world has come out from mind. Mind worlds were created first, and from those the life worlds were created.
In a way, it's for us.
These are also accessible in our inner being. All the worlds, all of existence, all of the divine is all within us. Yes, because we are in a way separated from it only by kind of a layer of unconsciousness. But as our mind develops, we create kind of a more structured existence. And so we kind of wall things off in order to understand them better and in order to live. So those barriers aren't so strong in children because their minds are not so developed yet.
Here this life state, not all stages faster than others. So one of the other is that I found. And I was thinking that the knowledge comes to the mind, the nature of the analysis.
But what?
I thought knowledge is the domain of the mind.
Yeah.
Here it says knowledge of stages far better is the act for nature. You have the knowledge.
Yeah, in this world of the life plane, knowledge is not kind of a dominant thing. Here, the life instincts or the life enjoyment is dominant. So even thought, instinctive knowledge, maybe it's kind of along that lines. They say that it wasn't even needed or to know. Their knowledge comes not through mind, but more kind of directly, maybe through the soul or something. But in that sense of pastime like the rest, it's sort of like, well, everything in that world is just for enjoyment.
Knowledge is not the spirit is to, and that's why I think everywhere where we say either the links from the soul, the getting
So directors.
see your evolution, see.
They steeped existence in their youth of soul. Like, no, you steep a tea bag into water, soak it.
They plunge their roots.
They plunge their
Roots to steep. They steep existence.
Sloot, that line sloot is.
They steeped existence in their youth of soul. Means they plunge their roots in. I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just that their whole life was saturated with this enjoyment of existence.
And early birth means child inheritors. Child inheritors means infantile inheritors.
Well, I think again they're kind of, he talks of them as like God children, right? He said God children, he described them earlier. So they have kind of the God instinct as their inheritance. They come into existence inheriting this God instinct.
I think it means these values are in early development. That's why I say it's an early born strategy. And like 10 billion birth is basically exists. So as you know, even indicate the childhood.
But maybe, but again, this don't think of it as a child's soul in the sense of evolution. Think of it more as a child's soul in the sense of coming close to the original divine, because they're children of God coming from above, right? This is an involutionary world. So it's not like they're undeveloped, it's more like that they're very close to God still, because they've come from God. So in that way, they're youthful because they still have that freshness of the divine atmosphere around them. So, Toria, would you like to continue?
From where?
I'm not sure.
There ain't a breath. And not something. Huh? And not something in order. She was The large continuous order fade the wind. The sun drank meaning of the soil breeze, the breath and fatness of the unfettered Alps, and the sweet sky house golden liberty. There was no falsehood of self-reverence. There came no openness of thought or word to rob creation of its city tone. All was imperative and natural force. Their freedom was so golden and highest thought. In a happy serious planned or plunged these worlds, in realms of curious beauty and surprise, in fields of honor and of life and power, life lay at peace with her immense desire. A thousand items she could build, no course, no bound was set to her greatness and to her grace and to her heavenly horizon.
Thank you. So here too, the will is kind of closely tied to the divine. So it's very free. It doesn't need to be coerced. It doesn't need to be, restrained. It just naturally, spontaneously is true. Pursues the right aims in life. But it seems that its will is mainly just to enjoy the bliss of existence.
The sun frank winging?
Sun frank, winging of the soul to bliss. So the sun is it's frank in the sense it's very stark. It's there's nothing to hide about the sun. It's just out there and displaying itself fully. It doesn't hide anything. So like that, the soul is winging towards bliss. It's flying towards delight. It moves in whatever freedom it has in any way it wants towards enjoyment and bliss. The breadth and greatness of the unfettered act. So it can go in many directions. And the swift fire heart's golden liberty. This freedom, absolute freedom. There's this spontaneity of existence there. And it just naturally expresses beauty and delight and seeks those enjoyments. There was no falsehood of soul severance. Everything is tied, I guess, to the soul. It's kind of psychic in nature. There came no crookedness of thought or word to rob creation of its native truth. All was sincerity and natural force. Their freedom was soul ruled and highest love. Yeah, these things that were as if not created yet, so they didn't have to deal with them. They were not a part of that world. So they don't come in to, deform or deflect anything. Everything just arises quite naturally, spontaneously. And I suppose there is not that sense of morality that we may have that comes in. I think these life instincts and all of these things may be pursued quite freely without shame, without anything wrong. Just as if in the animal world, I mean it's like that also. It's just very free and spontaneous. So again, he talked about these worlds as if there's a whole series of them. A happy series climbed or plunged these worlds in realms of curious beauty and surprise, in fields of grandeur and of titan power. Life played at ease with her immense desires. A thousand Edens she could build, sort of like paradise, heavens. No bound was set to her greatness and to her grace, and to her heavenly variety.
good idea. Then I think when you go through the whales, she knows and it's wrong for it and say maybe
We also want that freedom.
why there is no rules.
It could just continue creating new things continuously. It didn't have to stop. It didn't have to even pause in creating new world.
But I don't understand this how much to form.
It's just that it can.
The law comes after a night or
Not necessarily. I don't think it necessarily comes after neither.
which so the archaeology not negative.
It's not pause. Not pause. Without pausing. She could build.
So no can mean
without pausing.
Yeah, no can mean without. Okay.
Awake with cry and stir of numberless soul, arisen from the breast of some deep infinite, smiling like a newborn child and lovable, in her nature housing the immortal's power, in her bosom hearing the eternal will. No guide she needed but her luminous heart. No fall debased the Godhead of her steps. No alien night had come to blind her eyes. There was no use for grudging drink or fence. Each act was a perfection and a joy. Abandoned to her rapid fancies, moods, and the rich colored riot of her mind, initiate of divine and mighty dreams, magician builder of unnumbered forms, exploring the measures of the rhythms of God. At will, she wove her wizard wonders dance, a Dionysian goddess of delight, a bacchant of native ecstasy.
If you remember in the last canto when we were going through the worlds of subtle matter, there it was kind of perfection of form was the key, the primary element of that realm of worlds. And here it seems more that it, the exercise of the life energies and the enjoyment of life. And there's a great, there was this perfection of form. Here there's also kind of a perfection in the expression of the life, impulses of the will, of the emotions. It's all very frank and spontaneous and beautiful and perfect in a way.
There was no use for questioning offense.
No need to limit this enjoyment of life.
Grudging, why grudging?
Well, because we grudge sometimes, we don't want, we want to set limits pretty securely, narrowly, closely. We don't want to give too much freedom to people. We kind of grudge them. If we give too much freedom, then they'll cross the line. They'll do things that are not correct. You have to rein people in continuously. Yeah, that's part of it. It's the same kind of thing. We become jealous of others. Yeah. Yes, I like this line, smiling like a newborn child at love and hope. It just so gives the sense of this spontaneity and enjoyment of existence. I saw a newborn photo. It looked pretty miserable. Yeah, there are different realms here. He mentioned earlier, somewhere this power was more dominant, and somewhere, kind of a lighter enjoyment was more dominant. But it has the life has this great power.
He always brings it, though, for the expression to the fullest extent of Greek expression vanishes the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
See, so when the smile of the child, we obsess. Interesting. He returns to that.
But that excess also was divine in a way, right? It was also a sacred ceremony, even though it was with wine and intoxication. So that's, I think, why he brings it. It's also a kind of a sacred thing here, this enjoyment of life.
Yeah, because those Greek things are at the top level. And so it's so convenient for them to have that Auroville in this context, which is totally good. And of course, it's his education. I mean, sorry, about question. It's the Western Green Village.
Oh, Western Christian.
I mean, the significant image of an actual trance to create.
So we'll continue. Would you like to read?
Across the conscious that there was a bridge, a dark again inside, still is diagram the bridge by the blood. In spite of yearning mind and moving sense, to a sad thought like wings with its fall, and a vision dimmed by care and silence. All this seemed like conceived in a long distance by the heart of one who lost in shadow of faith, although he once had failed theatre as light, too near to suffering borders his nature tamed, and where distinct by the entrance of light, only two doors beset by the one still, and the dense moment in which we have been made, return sheer joy to joy, pure light to light, for its tormented will to think and be, first mingled pain and vision, and still it keeps the habit of its birth, a dire duality is our way to be. Thank you.
So Anthropati, being human, he can observe these worlds within and he can maybe take some pleasure and delight in them, but he cannot really enter into that existence fully as if he is one of those beings, those God children running around enjoying life. Being human, a darker air encircled still his soul, tied to an image of unquiet life. Because we have come, evolved out of the inconscient, out of the darkness, that air still encircles our existence.
Can you expand a little bit on the line the growth, the partnership, and how we can see the partnership
Well, he's seeing into that world, but it's as if it's over this gulf, as if there's still something dividing, some deep trench that still encircles his being. He can sort of look over it, he can see in the distance, as if separated, this world. He can enjoy the sights and the sounds and the things that are going on there, but he can't cross that gulf.
I think what is a very benefit our relationships but it's also it's always the rich ones not always growing and this to work that this really doesn't exist on its own natural.
So we need to kind of create these links, these bridges to these other realms. Is that what you think?
And this I think this is one of that and say that it's too close to the here is something good spiritually and then say and here is too good the sign that but still was something that's the third world. Whether it will transform in certain
Yeah, I mean, he is not of that world. He's of this world, right? But he's able to observe and witness that. But he doesn't actually belong to that world. He belongs to a different world.
And also if you read the man's Canto, it describes the portal that flowing the portal. There is the light portal. It means the light water.
And he also asked the question towards the end of faith, hand against soul. In the tree that make a return. Speak to that word, fear that. But I don't see exactly how there's no question mark. It is maybe a rhetorical question. And then he continues and explains it. How can we deal with this? Then it just keeps going. It's the duality. It's a duality there.
Yeah, due to our beginnings, right, in conscience, all of that still weighs on our existence, still limits us. And we keep up the habit of that kind of darkness.
But the bridge makes me think about the mother said that they have been, she and Shogun have been building bridges for us.
I think they built kind of a bridge to the supramental world. Because there was also kind of this gulf that separated that world from us. And the bridge was sort of built as the rainbow bridge, I guess. Right?
And you can take the supramental world and wonder all that's a lot of things.
Because there's the absolute resistance or something. Yeah, I just take it that he's conscious of the goal.
I think they made the bridge. Before, you go to the police and say, I have a being, and you experience that conflict. But it makes both ways that
Yeah.
their mission is in life and crime. So the new niche start. So I think they build the bridge. Both the heart have the courage to walk in the start of the life.
Yeah, they would talk about these high realms of existence, like even overmind or supermind, that you could pass over to some of these realms, but you could not return to birth again. So there was that kind of could take this leap, but you couldn't draw back to the point. Yeah. Okay, so where did we? Luba, would you like to?
And not say and materials and identifies and sand and stone, the young born young, for the release of soul, as in the object, weak, unending, in that desolate land, in that empty where, in that dead sweetness, meet the unheeded sound, heavy was the uncommunicated note of Godhead in a world that had no need, for none was there to see or to receive. This soul man was not nor saw nor flow of sense, could not contain their vast creative urge. Immersed no more in mental harmony, the spirit lost its status world standard report.
So now Shirabindo is bringing us back to our world, our physical world here, and its beginnings out of the inconscient matter, before life, before mind, before desire. And there was just this material theme identified with sea and sky and stone. Then her young gods yearned for the release of soul, asleep in objects, vague, inanimate. So these gods were asleep, these gods within matter, but yearning for release, yearning to express themselves. To work out.
Permits allow.
So finally, at some point, this aspiration to awaken could not be contained any longer by the physical matter.
You see this as a flashback to like the beginning of Savitri.
Yeah.
To help explain the part we just went through, or that this world, we can't go there because actually it came from this part. So the two are connected.
It is another kind of a restatement of the beginnings that were played out in the very beginning of the poem. So, and as we go a little further, we'll see more of that. Yeah, perhaps it's kind of tied in that way. I mean, because the first things to emerge was life, kind of life impulse out of matter. So in that sense, it's tied to these worlds. But also, I think we'll see that life comes down, it calls life down from the life worlds into matter. This comes in them as we continue.
Is also directly on understanding in this time the young gods how it is process of creation. One is legends.
Just could you read it so I?
Yeah, that's process and it's very good. And then somewhere young gods come and this
Very young gods. So these are the young gods of this plane, perhaps, huh? We referred earlier these child gods or godchildren. So the gods from there yearned for the release of the souls that were trapped in matter.
Yeah, but at the same time, he says that. And that soul, he says, heavy was the uncomplicated load of not having to work that happens. And it seems to be a contradiction. There are souls which will be released. And then he says they have no need. So it's a bit, I don't understand.
So at that point, the world still had no needs. It was still just physical matter. But these godheads were kind of trapped in that world. So let's read on a little further and you'll see how this plays out. Would you like to read?
Non-caring runs with no purpose, passion for the conscious heart, famishing for speech and thought and joy in the dumb, insensitive day and night, hunger for the gift of learning, respond. The boy's inconscious shaken to the touch, the intuitive silence trembling with the need. They cried to life to evade the senseless harm, and in the good forms await divinity. A voice was heard on the new rolling globe, a murmur moved in the unlistening voice. A being seemed to breathe where once was none, something pent up in dead insentient depths, denied conscious existence, lost to joy, turned as if one asleep since dateless that, aware of its own buried reality, remembering its forgotten selves and rights, it yearned to know, to aspire, to enjoy, to live.
So we see there was something immersed in this physical matter, yearning for release. And finally it breaks through, or it breaks something, and it calls down from the life worlds to invade the senseless mold and in brute forms awake divinity. But they call to the life worlds, these souls as if trapped within matter. Sri Aurobindo, often talks about this kind of two things that are needed, right? This aspiration that calls from below and this something from above that answers. Yeah, here it's kind of light, or from the divine, supreme grace. When we're calling. Yeah.
Also in that vision again. The sign see there are no studies, but the outcome and going on, we want some really real. So that is nothing but happening. Nothing on to never happen and most level. So all that is there, nothing but happening. We study for definitely following the things of that.
Yeah, in the end, it's not just a matter of it's not just itself. There's something within it, right? There's something still that it holds within itself. It holds all of existence within itself. So then life emerges. The beings seem to breathe where once was none. Something pent up in dead insentient depths, denied conscious existence, lost to joy, turned as if one asleep since dateless time. Aware of its own buried reality, remembering its forgotten self and right, it yearned to know, to aspire, to enjoy, to live. And I think, as he was saying, that also is a little reminiscent of the beginning of the poem. We can just read a few of those lines at the bottom of page 1. The impassive skies were neutral, empty, still. Then something in the inscrutable darkness stirred. A nameless movement, an unthought idea, insistent, dissatisfied, without a name. Something that wished, but knew not how to be. Tease the inconscient to wig ignorance. A throw that came and left a quivering trace, gave room for an old tired want unfilled. At peace in its subconscient moonless cave, to raise its head and look for absent light, straining closed eyes of vanished memory. like one who searches for a bygone self and only meets the corpse of his desire. So even there, it's like a being is waking up and is kind of remembering its existence, that it exists or has existed.
But then he brings us all this way. And now he's going to introduce this other element that is really difficult to deal with, the evil mystery.
Yeah, but also that is in the beginning too, because the way the poem opens, across the path of the divine event, the huge foreboding mind of night alone in her unlit temple of eternity lay stretched immobile. So across the path of the divine event, this is sitting, obstructing.
But there you feel like that foreboding night is on God. So then things start going, then we get a new problem here with that.
And this we will revisit in other sections as well, but this is also that introduction of evil and falsehood into the existence, which we touched on last time.
But I just don't understand why you describe this now after describing this wonderful world by the world. Why I don't. What is again?
That's about
He's relating it. He's relating it to our world, and he's also relating it to Aswapati. That Aswapati can't be satisfied with this heaven because he comes from here, and he has to go on. His search has to continue. So we stop there for today.
Life heard the call and left her native light, overflowing from her bright, magnificent plain on the rigid coil and sprawl of mortal space. Here too, the gracious great winged angel poured her splendor and her sweetness and her bliss, hoping to fill a fair new world with joy.
Thanks to Sri Arvi.